Hey YouTube, coming at you with a Great League team from early in the season from below. Sorry for my camera. It seems to be lagging a ton, and I don't know why. And it's already like dropped like 3 times when I started like 10 seconds ago. So if I cut out, as long as the mic works, that's all that matters. Coming at us with an emolga, lapras, Dusknoir team. Dusknoir running Hex, which is why I wanted to cover it because I really want to see what Dusknoir can do with Hex. I wanted the coverage of Ghost and Fighting, but Annihilate suffers from all the side waves. Everyone's using Grumpig, so I tried Dusknoir. I didn't have a good Shadow, but I had a Legacy Shadow Ball one, so I decided for Hex plus double Nuke. Generally, I like it as a closer because it's not walled by anything, but I feel like the nukes always do less than needed, so I guess the Shadow would be better. I'm also trying to Emolga, and it feels better than before, especially with the Acrobatics buff. So I already talked about how much better Emolga is. I tried Dusknoir with ASTONISH, which I felt just kind of slow, and it just did not. It was just glassy for what it was. So this is non-shadow with Shadow Ball, which is interesting. So let's take a look at it and see how it plays out. Okay, Altaria lead is somewhat neutral and going straight into the Lapras. I mean, you could have played that out. Luckily, they came in with Muck for some reason. Not a Muck, just Kanto Muck, which is just straight poison. So sideways are super effective. You're getting to these sparkling arias very quick. So already grab one shield. Looks like an easy flip if you want it. And there's a second shield already. So grabbing both shields early on this Pokemon. Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch does land. Can we get to another move? No. Will shield because we're gonna get to another sparkling aria to take this out. We've already grabbed 2 shields and they catch on the Whiscash. Coming in with Emolga, where Thundershock is resisted, but so is the Mud Shot. So landing the Acrobatics, not quite enough to take out. It is a buff move. I'm just adding just want things consistent here. Okay. Finishing up the matchup, they just get a Mud Bomb off. That's not enough. Discharge will be enough from this range. Altair comes back in. So Hex is faster, charging. They try to make a catch on Muck, able to kind of hold back and snipe. So have a bunch of energy on the Dusknoir. Lapras is low enough that like one Dragon Breath is going to take it out, so that's fine. May need to shield, but here comes the Shadow Ball. Again, non-shadow, so we'll see how much this actually does. Not a lot. Yeah, if you're going to run Hex, maybe you want the Shadow. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. Let's not make a decision one battle in. Let's take a look. Let's take a few more battles as we spin out of the win here. Okay. I guess I should get that off the screen. Okay. Jumpluff. Well, we have the Acrobatics, which is nice. They will only have resisted moves, right? Grass and Flying are both resisted. Land the Acrobatics, almost one shots, not quite, but Jumpluff is super tanky, so that's not surprising. They do just throw a resisted energy ball. This is fine, just taking it out, not taking any more chip damage. But given that they only have resisted moves, there is the argument that you should have just farmed down. And you are double weak to rock in Emolga and Lapras, so just need to stay in here so you can align with Dusknoir after. Yeah, you really don't have a choice. Because you don't want to come. I mean, Surf is super effective, but just the rocks throws or smackdowns or whatever it is would add up. Shielding up that move. What's in the back? Gel Scent. I like the switch here just to chip this as much as you can. Unfortunately for you, no charge move is going to hit this. So we just got to try and chip a bunch here to maybe get it in Hex range to come out with a bunch of energy, but it's going to be a pretty tough matchup here, especially down with shields and behind energy. Oh boy. This is tough. Okay, so Shadow Ball lands, and now just going for the Dynamic Punch. Unfortunately, that's the problem when you're running double nuke on this thing. 15 and 12 is not super long, but now we'll have to burn our second shield. You have to commit to the hex down. They smartly do not allow you to hex down and instant swap into their Bastiodon. I would expect some shields to go up considering they have 2 and are double weak to fighting, and they're just gonna, you're not gonna get to 3 before they get to 1 move here, so this is a loss. Yeah, the double weak to rock is tough. I think they actually played that pretty well on their end. Jellicent, so good lead. And is it Explode or Explode? Isn't it like explode? But explode? Okay, I don't know. That concludes Dan trying to sound things out like a 6-year-old. Okay. Whatever it is, it takes you down. Do Thundershock down, which is nice. Did they make a catch? What just happened there? This is a very weird team. This is like, I mean, this is early matchups, but very glassy Pokemon here. Bisharp. Emolga's spamminess coming through in the clutch here. That's 2 shields already. Yeah, you might want to shield just because you have such a bad matchup in the back, and I don't know if you could hex down from this range, so Jellicent comes in just to take this discharge, which is super effective. And now we'll just kind of come in here. I'm wondering if you could. I'm wondering if you could take a move as a shadow. I don't know. Hey, my camera's a little back. That's nice. Shadow Ball out. Try to farm down. Not going to happen, so I'm going to just throw out the Dynamic Punch. Take this out. And now I'm laying in bed. I don't know. Emolga and Stunfisk. Okay, bad. So going straight into Lapras. The only problem with Lapras is Psywave is resisted. Luckily they go into Politoed. Holy early season battles, Batman. So talk about something that has not been meta in like, oh geez, 12 seasons, 13 seasons. Politoed. I mean, it resists all your moves, so I mean, outside of Psywave. Psywave is neutral, but it resists your charge moves. You do grab 1 shield there. Do they have Earthquake or something? No, just gonna go Surfs here. Okay. So getting to another Sparkling Aria. This will grab the second shield. Now the question is, so they oh, can you actually take this out here? Okay. Oh, close. So we're gonna come back Emolga. The problem with this is this energy is useless, right? Because Stunfisk resists every single one of your moves. So you're just gonna basically sacrifice this. That's why I was wondering if there's almost an argument that you should have come in. You may have had to shield, that was the only problem, but there's an argument you may have should have come in with Dusknoir just to get ahead on energy, knowing that your Emolga is just basically useless. So just getting ahead on energy would probably put you in a better spot. I don't think it's going to matter too much in the ending here. Bastiodon's in the back here, so double super effective Dynamic Punch. Second one lands, takes that out. Here comes the Dynamic Punch on the Stunfisk. This will be super effective. Probably doesn't take out, again, non-stab from a non-shadow Dusknoir. So they live. Yeah, you can shield, or honestly, an Acrobatics from this red range would take this out. But going to shield to get the next Dynamic Punch off. So sweeping in the end game here. Which it could be a potential good sweeper with Hex. If you have a shield too. I'm just wondering what it looks like. Because none of these moves will one-shot, and the Hex won't do enough damage to put it in one-shot range anyways. So you're definitely going to need 2, no matter what. And I think that's probably the same with the Shadow. Anyways, land the discharge on the Feraligatr. We'll be able to get the farm down. We'll be able to get the farm down. Out comes Umbreon. Going for a bait here. I don't know if I like this bait. I probably just go Acrobatics because it's an Umbreon. They're not going to shield. So when you see these bulky Pokemon, just I don't know, a tip for those of you watching at home. These bulky Pokemon tend not to shield. Umbreon, Toxapex, Mandibuzz. These are the type of Pokemon that are just like able to tank a bunch of moves. So it's very unlikely that they're going to shield anything. So I think when you have a nuke like Acrobatics, you just go for it, especially that it only costs 14 and 12 to get to. So it's not even that much like worse than Discharge. So I say just go for those nukes. Now where do you want to take it here? Yeah, this is tough, but because Psywave is resisted, but you cannot take a super effective on the Dusknoir, so you just kind of have to come in here and resist its Psywave down, taking a couple moves here, but Lapras has some bulk, so that's okay. Ooh, that foul play looks terrible on Umbreon now. Getting to a Frenzy Plant here, not enough to take out. Going for the Shadow Ball. I'm assuming better damage per energy, but they do shield. And now they're going to get to move to either. Yeah, honestly, smart throwing the Dynamic Punch here. You need to chip as much as you can. But they're just going to try and farm down and come out with a Frenzy for your Lapras and one-shot you here. So, goodbye Lapras. Typhlosion. Instant swap. So, my only question is why. This is now the second time that you've had just completely neutral leads where you've swapped out. And not only that, in this matchup you swapped into a water Pokemon. Now this water Pokemon is half ice, so the fire can actually stay in this. But kind of a weird one. Yeah, they're not only fire, they also have Thunder Punch, which is super effective. So that's actually not even a great. So one, I don't understand why you're actually coming in, and two, I don't even know if that's actually the best coming in because you are running into a fire Pokemon and you're half ice, so it's neutral fires plus the Thunder Punch comes very, very, very quick on Typhlosion. Basically 10s each time. I guess not very, very quick, but 10s each time. So getting to the Discharge here on Emolga. Do take it out because they're down shields. Ooh, is a Whiscash. Can we get to the Acrobatics? We can. This will do good chip. Probably in the yellow. Mid-yellow, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's almost pretty deep yellow, actually. So that's a nice hit on Whiscash there. I would instant swap. Yeah, just get ahead on energy here. Blastoise in the back. See, so you're going to go Shadow Ball here. Should... Okay, so this is... what I'm seeing with Dusknoir as a non-shadow. I like Hex. This is going to be my analysis part, so sorry if I just kind of stop talking about your battles for like 2 minutes while they continue. Okay, so Dusknoir as the shadow with Astonish is the 8th ranked Pokemon in this meta. When you run the sims of Dusknoir Shadow, I'll run the non-shadow too just to see. So Dusknoir, non-shadow with Astonish, Dusknoir, non-shadow with Hex, and then Dusknoir, Jesus. Dusknoir, shadow with Astonish, and then lastly, Dusknoir, shadow with Hex. So, your best record is... Wow, they sim so much better with Aston. It's interesting. So, and it may be, and this is, I'm looking at the records and I'm trying to kind of work backwards as to why these records would be the way they are. And I think I know why. And so let me tell you the records and let me explain why I think the records just so that Astonish is significantly better. So the best record Pokemon here is Shadow Dusknoir with Astonish, 27 and 20 record with a 532 average. The second best is Dusknoir non-Shadow with Astonish, 25 and 21 record, 501 average. And both the Hexes, Shadow and non-Shadow, have losing records at 20 and 27 and well below average. And in fact, the one you're running here, the non-Shadow with Hex, is the worst average of all the Pokemon of these 4 Sims. And I'm not surprised as I've watched you throw a couple Shadow Balls now. And the problem is they do like 75%. So the problem with that is when you're running a fast move like Hex, which does not put any real fast move pressure on, it's mostly just used for charging, right? So when you put that fast move pressure, when you don't have that fast move pressure on Hex, but your charge moves are not coming at like 8s and 10s, right? They're still coming at Shadow Ball's coming at 15. Dynamic Punch is actually not bad at 12 and 9, 12, 9, but Shadow Ball is not coming fast enough at 15, 12, 12, 12. And your charge moves aren't one-shotting. It seems like the majority of the time you still just need to use 2 charge moves, right? You need to at least 2 Dynamic Punch, sometimes a Shadow Ball and Dynamic Punch combo. So between that and your opponent's shielding, it just puts a lot of... It's a little too slow to be able to take out. Whereas the Astonish, because Astonish is such an insanely hard-hitting move, and why the Shadow is better is because you now add even more damage to that Astonish, you can essentially just go Astonish, Dynamic Punch, and by the time you burn that shield, you may even you're probably just in 1 Dynamic Punch or 1 Shadow Ball range because the Astonish has added up so much. So I'm trying to look at like a specific win-loss here with the Astonish. Like as the Shadow, picking up Carbink and Shadow versus, again, the base here is the non-Shadow Astonish. The Shadow Astonish, you pick up Carbink, Guzzlord, Marowak, Talonflame, Galarian Weezing, and lose Lapras, Dusclops, Clodsire, which is whatever there. So I'm just trying to see, I'm just trying to look at the matchups to see, ones that you win with the Astonish that you do not win with the... Okay, and here's a perfect example. Guzzlord. Guzzlord, you lose Dusknoir with the Hexes, but win with the Astonishes. And now the question is it because you only need 1... I think it's my internet that's slow, that my camera's not working because the sim is taking forever. And it is. You only need 1 Dynamic Punch. And the 1 Dynamic Punch from the Shadow does 77%. But because the Astonishes do so much, even resisted, right? Guzzlord is resisting the Astonish because it's dark. But even with that resisted Astonish, you still take it out with Dynamic Punch. Now this is also running Shadow Punch, so you bait the Shadow Punch first and then land the Dynamic Punch. So there's maybe some baiting here. I wonder if you can just go straight Dynamic Punch. Let me just take that out and see. You cannot, so that matchup is actually bait dependent. But the point remains: you only need 1 Dynamic Punch to land on Guzzlord to take it out, because the Astonish, even though it's resisted, is still doing an insane amount of damage. Whereas the Hex, because it's not doing enough damage and you still only are hitting at that 77%, you're not getting that 23% from the Hex. So you still need a second Dynamic Punch to take that out. So that is why just the strength of the Astonish sims a lot better. Now again, this sim on PvPoke is always in the even energy, even 1 shield scenario. So if you're using Dusknoir as a closer, maybe with the shield advantage, that changes everything up, right? So let's actually take a look at that. Let me see if you have like a 0v1 or a 1v2, if that changes anything. Well, first of all, you're just killing them does not matter which one you use. You're killing them if you have a shield and they have no shield. Holy smokes, and you know what? The best one? Actually, the best one is still Astonish Shadow. But the second best is Hex Shadow. They're both 44 and 3, just the Shadow has a better average. And both have more wins than the Hex and Astonish non-Shadow. And then let me see in the 1v2 here if anything changes. No, Astonish is still better in The Sims 2. So, but both have really good records. Man, this thing is a beast with a shield advantage. Holy smokes. Which is not surprising, just given how like attack heavy it is. Usually Pokemon like this, if you're a Pokemon that doesn't get one shot right away, but your attack is still somewhat on the higher side, you usually have a pretty good matchup in like the shield advantage scenarios. And here is no different. So yeah, it does look like Astonish is the move that you want to run on this thing. And that is the rationale why, because Astonish plus with the Astonish, you probably only need one charge move to take out a lot of Pokemon, whereas the Hex, you still need two. Anyways, thanks for letting me go down the rabbit hole. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.